So, what is going on, guys? Today we're going to take a look at the Transformers Generations Thrilling 30 Deluxe Class Hoist. And I'm not exactly sure if he's Thrilling 30, but he is Hoist. And Hoist is one of he's the final of my 5 that returned me to Transformers. He is the final one. And I mean, it's certainly a thing. I already did take a look at this mold. I did take a look at it. I don't even know if I threw this guy in that, but I was like, I'm going to do a dedicated video. Because why not? I have more of a sentimental attachment to this Hoist than I do to the Trailbreaker version of it. And, yeah. It's funny because that Trailbreaker, I believe, is still on my shelf. There's a couple of old figures that get to stay on my shelf with the modern ones. Because I don't have the new Trailbreaker. But I do got a new Hoist, so this guy sadly got phased out, and now lives on the shelf with Soundwave and Thundercracker. But yeah, that's really all I have to say about Hoist, really, for that reasoning. As far as it goes with this guy, he's really good. He's awesome. He has the typical Hoist of green and orange. He looks very nice. He's pretty bulked out. His arms aren't kibbly at all. I mean, there's a bit on the back, but that's about it. And as far as his legs go, I mean, they're pretty generic, fine legs. They have the wheels, nothing more about them, really. I mean, backpack-wise, he doesn't have one. He's one of the cleanest Transformers I think that's ever existed. Although it's a bit gappy back there, that is about it. I mean, there's nothing really wrong with his back. His head looks really good. I do like it. It looks like a updated Hoist. I'm assuming it's IDW version Hoist, like most of the figures were at the time. Chest-wise, he has that weird window in the middle. But I do like how the chest is formed on this mold. It is one of those things. One thing I didn't really mention about the arms, though, is that there's a bit of blue in, like, the kind of, like, socket, I guess. I'm going to actually just have to show it. Right there. There's blue in there. It's a bit weird to see. Like, in certain angles, you do not see that blue, ever. It exists, but it doesn't exist. I mean, as far as it goes for Hoist, I mean, he just looks awesome in this mode. There's really not a lot I can go over with this guy, since I kind of already went over it, and I mean, he is just nice. As far as accessories go, he looks fine enough with this little gun, which isn't really a gun. It's his tow hook. It's a good use of a tow hook to turn it into, like, this weird little pistol. It's kind of nice. I like the thought of it. I do. I find it funny that this happens, because it usually doesn't. But, I mean, it looks good in his hands. I mean, he can pull off a ton of poses with it. Everything like that. I mean, there is technically storage for it as well. I mean, you can store it on many of the ports, but you can also take it and store it on the back if you move that out of the way a bit. It just pegs into his back perfectly fine, and if you don't want it to be a gun, you can even have it in tow hook form hanging off of his back to give him a bit of kibble. Because my thing with Transformers, I like when they have kibble. Like, there's not a ton of it. Like, they have a little bit, I'm fine with it. Like, it's just, I hate when they don't have any. It's kind of odd to me. It doesn't make any sense. But yeah, that's where you can put it. I mean, it looks good. As far for size comparisons, I'm going to put him next to Sideswipe, Thundercracker, and probably Soundwave, because, yeah, I was initially going to get the 5, like I mentioned, but Rhinox is one of those figures that if I disturb him, he's going to fall over. Right now I have him where he's pretty static. He doesn't move if I touch Prime's trailer, and that is awesome. But, yeah. But as far as it goes, that's really it. So let's get to the articulation of this guy. As far as the articulation goes, he has a bit of a rotation there, nothing more. You can look up, forward, and back, outward, elbow, swivel, a waist, forward, back, out, swivel again, but it's really tight, knee joint, and that is it. So, standard articulation. I mean, nothing really special about it. I mean, it's pretty good. I mean, he does also have light piping, but it's really hard to get at because it's not up top, it's down bottom. Yeah. And there's really no easy way to get it to show. I believe it's green, though. It's just not easy to show. Yeah, it is green. I can kind of see it showing a bit. Not really, though. But yeah, it is green. Kind of like an olive green. But yeah, that's really it for the robot mode, so let's just get into that transformation. And as far as that transformation goes, first thing you do, fold in the hands. Pretty simple stuff. You're going to fold up his feet, also simple stuff. Come to the back here, and then just start moving and grooving. Do that, rotate his head around, flip it in, and then you're going to take this, fold it down. Now the arms are a kind of fun part here because they're on this weird kind of assembly. If you watch the Trail Cutter review or own either of the figures or any version, because I know there's a couple other versions of this mold out there, I mean, it is pretty nice. It's a bit of a twist on the arm swivel, you know? Bit of a twist on that. You can then take the panel there, flip it out, flip his arms around. And the thing with putting the arms in place is do not touch this part. Right here, do not touch it. If you do, it's going to fall in, and you're going to have to take out the arms and put them back. And it's a bit annoying. So don't touch that section while transforming it. It's just a kind of weird thing. It is something that I used to do all the time. I can pretty well avoid it now. But yeah, that's what you don't do. You can then fold the legs together like so. And then take his tow hook, fold it out, and it just pegs into the back like so. And there is Hoist in his alt form. And as far as Hoist's alt form goes, it looks pretty nice. I actually really do like it. It's obviously Trailbreaker's alt form, but without the back canopy section. So it kind of looks a little funny, but it's not that bad at the same time. I think the weird part is easily the lights on the top, and I know that is a trait of Hoist and Trailbreaker, but it is a bit odd. They just look a little too high and a little too big. That's the thing. Also, this thing's really tiny. It's like a Legend scale, almost, alt mode. It compacts down really nicely. I mean, as far as it goes, you have the tow hook. It doesn't really function that well, but it's there. The wheels are painted, the headlights are painted, and the rear lights, tragically, are not painted. But, I mean, there's some nice stuff like the caution stripes. Now, one thing that's a bit odd, and I'm just going to show this part here, is this looks metallic, but mainly because it's clear plastic. So, yeah, there's a bit of paint differential. And it's pretty noticeable paint differential, too. Look at that. That's really noticeable. Really, really noticeable. Another thing with this mold, the head being right there, it's fairly obvious the head's right there, because there's also, like, no orange on this thing, except for the tow hook and the head. That's it. That's the only bits of orange on this entire figure. And that's it. That is your orange. And yeah, I mean, that's really just the figure in a nutshell. There's nothing really much more to say about it. It's a nice alt mode. It rolls. Whee! Kind of. Actually, it has those weird half wheels. I didn't mention that. It has these weird half wheels that are tight on the front for some reason. The back ones are fine. But let's just get into the overall thoughts on this guy. I have a bias to this figure, but I don't remember what the exact ranking I gave it initially. I'm not going to put my personal biases in the way here and go, this is 5 out of 5. Is it a 5 out of 5 figure? I mean, it kind of is in a lot of ways. This figure is really good. Like, it still stands the test of time to me. Obviously, it doesn't look like G1 Hoist. It looks like IDW Trailbreaker because it's IDW Trailbreaker. That's why it looks this way. Do I have an issue with that? No. Is this figure still good? Yes. And even if I were to sell my collection, there's a fair few I'd keep around, and I guarantee you this would be one of them. This would definitely be a figure I'd keep around if I were to ever stop. You know? Just ever stop. And I thought about it before. I was like, if I were to stop collecting. You know, because some people do it as they get older. It's one of those things, obviously. Actually, I'm really only saying that because I did watch a lot of Nerf YouTubers, and it seems that Coop772, if you know anything about Nerf, has actually retired from YouTube. So that was a kind of sad thing to see, but yeah, he's moving on. Good for him. But yeah, that was a bit sad because I watched him for like ever. Because I like a lot of things, but I have focused on Transformers most of the time. I love Nerf. I love Star Wars, I love Halo, I love all of it. I used to collect Mega blocks all the time. Mega Constructs now. I love those. I love those things. They were awesome. But I never gave this guy a rating, did I? Yeah, I'm going to give him 5 out of 5. I said I wasn't. I'm going to do it. I like this mold a lot. I just do. I like this mold. He has a sentimental attachment to him. He's good. I like this figure. If you get him for cheap, he's great. But I mean, he's just awesome. He's an awesome figure. And he's just nice. But yeah, that's been my review of Transformers Generations Hoist. This has been Eilt Elite signing out.